Hi friends, let's do something a little different today. I am interviewing me. I want you to cozy up and join me. I'm answering 8 hard-hitting questions so that you can get to know me and have a little fun. Okay, what is a personal detail about me? I would say a personal detail about me is that I find it really challenging to use neutrals. I don't know why. I'm just drawn towards color, and so specifically when using yarn, why not use fun colors? So if that sounds like your vibe, then you're in the right place. Okay, so what's my unique style or my signature approach? Okay, style. Let's talk about City Bright knits. A little backstory on the name City Bright. I love bright colors and I live in big cities. I have lived in Washington, D.C., New York, and London, and I'm back in New York right now, so it's all about big cities for me, as well as bright colors. Love bright colors. It just makes me happy, especially when a lot of my aesthetic in real life is like whites and neutrals, and I love like pops of colors here and there. I just think it's so playful and so whimsical. So not so much like rainbow colors, but also not pure pastels. I would like to say that I'm a happy medium. So this is where I live. This is my unique style. And then as a crochet designer and pattern writer, as I'm starting to write more and more patterns, I'm just really enjoying writing patterns specifically for summer. I love summer and I love using cotton yarn. I feel like this is a nice happy marriage between the two. And I've really decided in 2025 that I'm excited and interested in beachwear, but also like party fashion, because I feel like if you're not going to go over the top with crochet, then like where's the fun? So like sparkle, color, outlandish designs, just things that really like feed your eyes and make it fun. So this is my unique style, and this is also something that I am building towards in the upcoming year. Okay, so what drew me to crochet in the first place? I've been crocheting for about 12 years, and I got started because I've always been interested in using my hands with different crafty things, and I just loved the look of wool and knitting needles and crochet hooks when people had them in baskets in their homes, so I was always interested. However, I didn't learn to crochet until after college. I graduated from college and I moved away from a job, and I really needed something to keep me entertained and busy while I was alone forging a new career. So I learned to crochet one Christmas when I went home. My cousin actually taught me. She was making beanies on a loom, and that's what I first learned. She taught me how to make infant beanies for little babies who are in like the NICU, and that's what I made all Christmas. So I took that home with me and continued to practice, and mostly it was self-taught. Back in the day when I was learning how to crochet, which was probably about like 2012, it was mostly like books and pamphlets that you could buy at the craft store, and there wasn't YouTube or any of these videos. You could Google like an about, and it would give you graphics on how to do the stitches, but that's mainly how I had to learn. And I will say that Pinterest has really been like an inspiration along the way. Funny story, I actually learned to knit before I learned to crochet. In the job that I was working in, a coworker's wife would knit, and she and I were in the same field, so we kind of connected and hit it off. And so she brought me over to her house a couple times, and basically we started with some acrylic yarn and some oversized knitting needles, and she taught me how to knit. And I remember it was like yellow yarn. I had so many holes in my swatch, and she was working on this beautiful lacy shawl that intermixed like different materials, like linens and not raffia, but like something kind of rough, like that kind of yarn with some sequins here and there, and it was just like so pretty. And I remember it looked so advanced, and I'm happy to think back on that and know that now if I were to make something like that, I'm probably ready. Okay, so what got me into crochet pattern design? I got into crochet pattern design and pattern writing actually in 2020, like during COVID. Like I'm sure a lot of us had little crafts and projects we were working on. I've been crocheting for such a long time by then, and I started to get into Instagram and doing things more for like the visual and community aspect of crochet. And so I remember I would go on Ravelry, which was like the primary site to find crochet patterns and interact with community. And I would participate in test knits. Like these are different forums or groups that you can join, and people are posting new patterns. And if you help them test their pattern, whatever it is, you can give feedback and make edits, and then you get to have the finished product for making whatever that pattern was for. So I would I would join test knits, and I actually hit it off with a friend in one of these test knits, and she was interested in designing at the time like a Fair Isle beanie pattern, so it had like a design on it. And for me, I was interested in designing a crochet top, so it's my boho fringe top design, and I'm so proud of it. And so she and I kind of said, hey, we'll test each other's patterns. Mine was crochet, hers was knitting, but we test them for each other. And that was such a developmental and lovely experience for me, connecting with somebody in this fiber community. And she gave me some really good feedback. It was really fun to work with somebody that felt kind of like one-on-one, like we were peers, like no judgment. And it was really helpful to get that feedback along the way with not only the technical writing and, you know, can you fix this, make this easier to follow, but also with how to take pictures, what works for people, and different things like that, as well as like sizing. So that's how I first got into pattern writing, was through doing test knits and deciding, okay, I want to try to design something for myself. That first design for the boho fringe top, I actually wrote and graded. So my first pattern, I actually like graded the sizes. Okay, so what does pattern grading mean? So grading is the process of creating a range of sizes that can be fit for ready to wear. So actually the Craft Yarn Council has a standard of body measurements. This is going to be a whole different video that I do, but it's basically how to measure. It takes the chest, the arms, the back, the hem, all of this, and you say that if you're going to create a size and you want it to be a different size, it gives you basically how to figure out the measurements to create your stitch count and all of this. So grading is being able to change from going from an extra small to a small, from a small to a medium, and so on. So this is a very important part of pattern writing, specifically when it comes to garments. So my very first pattern included grading from extra small to extra large, and this was such a trial by fire, just jump right in experience for me. It took so long. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. There's actually a lot of math involved with grading. This will be a whole different video that we talk about, so let me know if you've ever tried this before. I want to talk to something that specifically interests you. This is just where I got started on my first pattern with grading. Do I create beginner friendly patterns or like knitting patterns, or is it just crochet? All of my patterns are beginner friendly. Like this is where I started. This was my bread and butter. Everything that's on my Ribbler and Etsy for patterns are beginner friendly. Now my hobby patterns are a little more advanced and intermediate, but this is because this is on a bigger platform with more advanced and experienced fiber artists. So I do have patterns all the way from easy all the way to more intermediate. I don't really have any advanced patterns. I figured just why make them hard? So all of my patterns range from easy, beginner to intermediate, as well as knitting patterns. Most of my patterns are crochet just because I love crochet, but I do actually have knitting patterns. My most popular patterns are knitting patterns. On my Etsy, my most popular pattern is for my velvet sparkle beanie, and it is actually a knitting pattern, as well as my second most favorited pattern is for a traditional knit scarf. So here we go. I have both crochet and knitting. Let me know if you do both also. What makes my channel different? So this is going to be different because I'm actually addressing and hitting these hard hitting technical questions. Like, what are the questions about grading? Where do you get started with pattern writing? What template do you use? Should you have photos? Should you include all the sizes? Like, how much do you put into a pattern? This is what I'm going to tackle on this platform, and I really hope to answer some of your questions. So this is all about engagement and feedback, because I don't know what you want to know unless you let me know. Okay, what to expect next? In this series, I'm going to be tackling the hard questions of crochet design and pattern writing. This is something that I talk about with other crochet designers, and so if we're struggling with it, I know that you are too. We're going to let you know the ins and outs, some of the things that we find helpful or tricky when talking about patterns, things such as grading, technical writing, a template on how to make written patterns, video instructions, photo tutorials, and the lot. So if that sounds like something that you're also interested in, whether you are a beginner crocheter and just interested in maybe one day writing patterns, or whether you're a pattern writer yourself, I would specifically love to hear comments and details, and let me know how I can help you on this page.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that little notification bell for more.
Thanks so much for watching. You can find more of these videos on my playlist that's called Crochet Design and Inspiration.